This has been a pretty disastrous year for Harry and Meghan. At the moment, her father, Thomas, is dangerously ill in a hospital in the Philippines. He appears to be pulling back a bit, but having had his leg amputated, and he's 81 and frail, who knows what will happen. I can only report that the rift between him and his daughter, and for reasons that he's posed for staged paparazzi photographs, and he's given numerous interviews attacking her. But there's no question at all that this is a tragic situation, and one would love for it to be resolved in some way, although I'm very doubtful that it will be. But what a week this has been, because if you look at the way Harry and Meghan have made fools of themselves, I mean, so far as she's concerned, the last festive episode, supposedly the joys of the festive season appear in With Love, Meghan, the Christmas edition, and this was such a condescending, smiley, cringy load of twaddle. They couldn't, I mean, someone like Naomi Osaka is highly respected in her field, but they couldn't get someone who was famous, and that's what Meghan needed. She had to have a real draw, not just this dreadful, almost irresistible positivity towards absolutely every single thing, as though she were the Mary Poppins of California, and this was practically perfect in every way, which it most certainly wasn't. I found it rather nauseating. The critics have been excoriating. Now, since that's happened in the last two, there were several parts to each series, I think it extremely unlikely it'll come back. As ever, which is her jam and other products and so forth. She wants to be an influencer. That is backed by Netflix. But how well it's done, reports vary. We'll have to wait into the next year to see. What she really needs is someone like Steve Bezos backing her. Netflix, of course, the contract between it and the Sussexes, renewed on the terms of first option, but what they want is royal stuff, or links to the royal family in some way, like Harry and Meghan, the docuseries. And whether the Sussexes will consider that remains to be seen. Possibly something about Diana, that is, there have been rumors about that. But there's no question at all that Harry made an idiot of himself, appearing as an extra, firstly, in the Christmas special of With Love, Meghan. We now know what foods he doesn't like and so on. But also appearing in The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, who he and Colbert had half an hour when Spare was released. And I remember it was excruciating. So much of it, as I recall, was about penile frostbite. And I mean, at that level, where do you go? Well, in the case of his appearance this week, I thought it was very unwise to have a crack at Donald Trump, who can be pretty thin-skinned. Trump has indicated he doesn't want to disturb matters. There has been a lot of questions about the visa that Harry possibly or possibly not mentioned taking substances when applying for entry to the United States. That has been left. Trump doesn't want to disturb it. The Sussexes would be well advised to ensure that they keep out of the political arena. And indeed, Meghan, in a recent interview, was asked directly what she thought of American politics these days, and was very careful. I think they should be careful. But the appearance on The Late Show was just childish. It was to do with, apparently, films featuring sort of jokey royals at Christmas, and an inane thing for Harry, who, after all, is supposed to be a person of some sort of substance, to participate in. And it's not been a good year for him. I mean, we've had Sentibale, which he founded with Princesso in his mother's memory to help sufferers from HIV/AIDS in Lesotho. It's helped many children. But he and the chair, Dr. Sophie Chandauka, fell out publicly. And the Charity Commission report that left her in charge and was critical of the way that it had been run before. So that was a blow. He's on the board of Africa Parks. That has been fired, well, in fact, charges against it for its rangers abusing members of the Baka tribe in the Republic of Congo. Harry has said nothing about this, shouldn't he? Then there was, of course, the loss in the High Court of his case over getting automatic police protection for himself and his family when they're in Britain. They knew, Harry and Meghan, when they stepped down, that they'd lose it. Now, there's a VIP category which would be considered. It's considered on a case-by-case basis. The problem with all this is that he went on the BBC and for half an hour vented his wrath. You could see why this is such a sensitive issue for him, of course, because he was traumatized by the tragic death of his mother. But to handle it like this, again, there's this feeling that he believes that people are working against him and so forth. However, after a highly publicized, who knows who publicized it, meeting between Royal Aids in the Royal Overseas League in St. James's, Harry did see King Charles. A meeting with his father seems to have passed off well enough, and he'd had a successful few days in Britain and then went to Kiev to show support for Ukraine. And it seemed to have gone extremely well. And unlike the first meeting with King Charles, when he heard he had cancer, he flew over immediately and then went on Good Morning America. He initially didn't say anything to the media, but then gave an interview to the Republican-supporting Guardian, where he said he regretted nothing and so forth. Again, this shows what the royal family cannot abide, and the facts are you can't trust the Sussexes. Their relations with the media are so close. I mean, it's not been easy negotiating all this, I don't doubt, especially since their calendars seem to clash with those of members of the royal family. Harry apparently offered a concession on this. We don't know where that has got. But as they look into 2026, how well is As Ever doing? What will happen between Meghan and her father? I suspect that nothing will, because of the difficulties in the past. By no means all caused by her, but it doesn't look good when you are humanitarian and always positive and always talking about being charitable, and it obviously is a worrying aspect of life so far as they are concerned, because their popularity is low in Britain, but it's better in the United States. But one thing the year has shown, and that is that they do have a very substantial brand, that everything they do still goes worldwide, including, of course, Meghan's trip to Paris, where ill-advisedly she allowed a posting on Instagram, which was near the place where Diana died. It wasn't intentional, but there's no question that they have to be careful and they have to take people's advice. So many of those working for them over the years have left. And 2026, you have a huge question mark about how they will negotiate things to their advantage. There is the Invictus Games in Birmingham in 2027. The royal family have been invited. We wait to see who, if anyone, will attend.